Hey guys, Derpkit here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna talk about HI Poly. So what is HI Poly, you might ask? Well, it's a synth. It's a really simple synth and it's really affordable. It also has really unique features that I will get into later, so let's jump right into it. The first thing is the oscillator section. So in the oscillator section you can choose between 4 oscillating modes. You can choose between 2 oscillators and phase shape, which is really neat. You can choose between having 2 oscillators and the sub oscillator. You can sync them. You can choose between 3 oscillators, pulse width. You can choose different waves, unison up to 7, I believe. Yeah, really cool. So yeah. And then you have the mixer section, which lets you, mix the oscillators and pan them around. There is not much to get into, so let's move on to the filter. The filter, you have 2 filters that can be mixed in parallel or in serial. And this knob right here, it lets you modulate them simultaneously. So let's say I have a bandpass and I have a low pass. I can modulate both of them at the same time, which is really cool. One cool thing is you can choose a source for the envelope modulation on the filters. So let's say I select envelope 1. As you can see, I can get a blocky sound because I have 0 sustain. So that's neat. Let's reset this. And let's go to the envelope section. The envelope section is pretty much self-explanatory. You have ADSR, you can change the velocity, the attack shape, and the decay and release shape, as you can see. Pretty neat stuff. You have 4 envelopes, and you can choose between seeing all of the envelopes without visual feedback to seeing just 2 envelopes per page with visual feedback, which is neat. You also have this master section, which lets you edit the tune, lets you tune the sound that you're making. You can choose between mono, legato, poly, whatever. It's a thing. And there is also a really cool thingy, which is to boost the signal by 6 decibels, which is really interesting. I never really seen it. Usually, like if I just want to have something in a higher volume, I just crank the volume up within the synth itself, but it's cool that they have this. It's cool that they also have a limiter on and off. Really neat. And yeah, let's get into this little section, which I have no idea what its name, but yeah. So on the keyboard you have the keyboard and the mod wheel and pitch bend. You can edit the pitch bend values, which is really cool. Control the portamento, and you can also modulate the portamento. You have MIDI effects, which is one of its most unique features yet. My favorite one personally is a harmonizer. You can turn them on and off. You have quite a bit of MIDI effects, as you can see. It's pretty cool. And if you have 2 voices, it's gonna play just the 2 voices. And if you have more, it's gonna play all the voices. Cool stuff. You also have an Arpeggiator, I believe. Yeah, it's in here. It's really powerful. You can do cool stuff with it, and you have more. So let's get into the audio effects section. So the audio effects section, it has a ton of effects. It has cool types of delays. You have cool filters, mod effects, cool shifters, non-linear, dynamics, reverb, and utility. So this is an oscilloscope. As you can see, it's really cool. You can zoom in, zoom out. Pretty nice. You have grain delay, which is cool. I don't really need to explain what the effects are because, well, we all know what delay and reverb is, so I'm just gonna show you some cool effects that are my favorite, like a grain delay. cool stuff. The reverb is also pretty nice, it's pretty smooth. You have dry and wet. One of the best reverbs out there. And yeah, super cool. Now let's get to the settings. The settings I never really got into, but it exists, and yeah, you can choose between mod sources, and I haven't really got into it, so I won't explain it. This is cool. You can choose between the default preset author name. Let's change it to this. Cool value display, as you can see in here. You can have a pop-up or a top bar, and yeah, that's about it. Now, oops, excuse me about that. Now let's get into the modulator section. So you can really easily modulate things. You can drag and drop them, as you can see in here. I can drag and drop my LFO to anywhere I want to. As you can see, really cool, really nice. Let's initialize the preset. Okay, so you can edit the LFO editor. Well, you can edit the LFOs. You can change their speed. You can synchronize them to your project, invert them. You can smoothen it out. I have no idea what it does. Saturate them, which fattens them. You can change their phase and the offset, which is really cool. You can choose between poly and mono LFOs. You can have it bipolar and retrig, which is really neat. If you turn on retrig, you have delay. Once like you hit a note when it triggers, you can have up to 10 seconds. You have fade in, which is really nice, really neat, and you can change the shape. And then you have sample and hold instead of LFOs if you want to, which is really just a random value, and you can basically do whatever you did with the LFO. You can synchronize it, you can choose between different modes, and yeah, well, overall it's pretty neat. Nice visual feedback. And this is your Arpeggiator sequencer. So you can choose between a sequencer to a multi-envelope, which is basically an MSEG, which is just like Serum's LFO. So in order to create a dot, you just right click. If you right click it once again, it creates a little smoothing dot. If you click it once again, it just disappears. So pretty cool. It's nice. You can randomize it, which is super nice. We can get really experimental with it, and yeah, that's about it. And you can also modulate with these, which is, this one is key tracking. You can key track basically every parameter. You can velocity track every parameter. You can assign every parameter, well, most parameters, to the mod wheel, to the pressure, to the pitch bend, which means you can basically modulate the pitch but also something else simultaneously with the pitch, which is really unique. I find it really unique and cool. And yeah, that's about it in the synth. Now let's get into some presets. Let's see, which one should I choose? I'm gonna just play with some bells, you know what? It's got some cool sounds. You have quite a bit of presets, which is cool. As you can see, you can make really cool shit. And yeah. Overall, that's about it. Super powerful synth. for a really affordable price. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed the video, and that's about it. See you.